history in CRL overall, but this is a completely new roster for them, I believe. I think two of these guys, I'll have to look again, but when I looked last, I think it is a whole new roster for Kennesaw State.
And I really like what you said there earlier, Jorby, about being a must-win for both teams. And it truly is a must-win because at this point, you come up halfway through your season and for one of these teams, you're still winless. For the other, they only have one. It's not that much better. So it's a team. This is a matchup where both teams should win, honestly. And we do get to separate who's going to be the team to start their trek back into the middle of the pack.
It gives us an idea of the gut of the Eastern Conference and how these teams stack up. Waterloo will pick up the first goal. Dark Beam punching in the first on the orange half.
And that's a tough bounce for Kennesaw State. Carter was first to jump at it. You could see Tyro wanted to hit or let him go after it. Unfortunately, Carter didn't get the touch. And Dark Beam there to punish, so a little bit slow from Kennesaw State to react on that awkward bounce and ultimately punished.
Certainly something that is really difficult. Even at this level, you see the separation come from, nice save from DPN, the top of the net. But the big difference being between the players who are good at consistently catching that ball in those tight situations, Corelli, like in front of the box. Like, it's one thing to catch the ball in a low-pressure situation. It's a completely other scenario to do so in front of the box. It's a nice little progression here. And Tyro will pick up the first goal for Kennesaw State.
And that's a great response from Kennesaw State. Not only do they get the goal, but they kept pressure right after that kickoff, after giving up the first goal, and they're just right back into offense. They quickly find some form, and I think having Tyro as the goal scorer is great. He's a player to look out for on this Kennesaw State squad. When we saw them in the first week, even though they were unsuccessful, Tyro definitely showed himself to be a standout player at not only being involved on the offensive side of things, but being that last man back as well.
And so far, it hasn't been anything wild from either team as far as like one team getting a bunch of pressure and then collapsing, but rather punishment on a single error. And sometimes, Rocket League, that's what it all comes down to a lot of the time. But Dark Beam, he was expecting to find the read on a touch from Carter, but the touch never came. DPN actually getting a steal on the boost as well, but Waterloo back on a full retreat, and DPN will get the next boomer. I actually like how DPN's looking overall in the first 2 minutes. Couldn't get back to the ball on that last play, but he's downfield receiving a pass, challenged again. Waterloo unable to, I was saying unable, but I didn't expect that midfield challenge to turn into a win for them. Hasn't looked too bad, though, on this last progression.
And DPN almost just had the little flick on there outside the Kennesaw State box. Still tied up. Both these teams now really jockeying for position in the midfield. Sure, Kennesaw State has an opportunity downfield, but it's quickly turned away by Waterloo. And again, both teams kind of trying to find the gaps between the defense and also keep possession. They do find the gaps, but they don't hold on to the ball. Here's Dark Beam trying to get a bump. Tyro dodges it nicely and breaks out through his sideline.
Everybody working on limited boosts on the orange half. Kennesaw trying to pick up all the small boost pads, and they kept the ball outside of the box long enough. But you can see that the passive positioning by them, you could feel that they were getting the pressure, because as soon as they are starting to pick up pads, they spread out on the rotation towards midfield. Then it's just about surviving that next midfield challenge, but nobody's really ready to follow it up because everybody's kind of in self-preservation mode on defense. And so it takes a few of those progressions, and now you're finally seeing it. Kennesaw State win a couple more midfield boosts, right? And a couple more challenges, and now the approach is a little more confident on offense.
You're seeing similar offense that earned the first goal for Kennesaw State. Maybe a second one. Tyro with the dunk. Can he get a second touch? He can, but it's off the post and the crossbar. Two huge opportunities for Tyro, and the defense just barely hanging on with help from the fourth man.
Oh, Tyro is upset. I mean, I would be upset if I were Tyro. What else can you do to get that ball into the net? Oh, here's another shot. It came off the crossbar right over Dark Beam's car. Now again, another light ball. Kennesaw State keeping control of midfield, Corelli, but come away empty on the next clear. DPN on the counter, saved by Cursed.
For Waterloo, you got to be thanking your lucky stars here. You keep this game tied up, and you hold off that offense from Kennesaw State. And Kennesaw State's done a better job of locking in this Waterloo team. Here's Tyro again. That's a dangerous ball, and Gibb does well to turn it away.
I mean, this has been Kennesaw's, this back half of game one has been all Kennesaw State. Complete control of the midfield and a great pass, but it's off the post again. The fourth man has been the biggest issue for Kennesaw State to find the back of the net. Only one goal committed on 8 shots. Here comes another from Dark Beam. Waterloo can't get anything set up, only 4 shots on net. End of regulation. Here comes the last chance for Kennesaw State. Maybe they can end it now, but it's looking like a game 1 overtime. That's cursed. Ooh, we got chipped. No chance.
I think best case scenario here for Waterloo, they have to find some sort of form coming out from their own defensive third. It feels like right now they get so panicked. The reset might have helped them here. DPN couldn't put it on target. They had the defense dead to rights, and Carter now trying to quickly counter for Kennesaw State.
Oh, Dark Beam got bumped by his teammate, and now they're in trouble against the backboard. Here's a shot by Tyro, and can't get the goal. But the turnaround for Cursed. There it is, Kennesaw State open the match with a game win.
And finally, some shots dropping for Kennesaw State. What felt like, well, it was 9 shots from Kennesaw State, and what felt like very controlled offense. Finally able to break in. It really just took a solid shot from Cursed. That defense was a little spread out once again. And for Kennesaw State, they feel like they've earned the win that they knew they had in regulation if they had put away the shots earlier.
I really liked what we saw from Tyro in that game, especially when he had a chance with boosts in the tank. He really tried to, whether it was possession or going for a double tap, testing the defense on the backboard and forcing awkward challenges. And he obviously had a couple of opportunities that he couldn't complete, but I would say it's only half his fault on those. But I really liked Kennesaw State midfield presence, Corelli. They completely flipped the switch halfway through that game and forced Waterloo into these long clear situations that they just couldn't get out of.
Yeah, I think that's truly the case, and it's going to be on Waterloo now to really find the way out from their own end. Like you said, Kennesaw State had a lot of extended pressure. Waterloo didn't do a good job of getting out from their own end with boost, with possession. Neither of those boxes were checked for them. So Waterloo have to pick it up on the defensive end.
Kennesaw State, the worst thing you could say on defense is that Carter had a mistouch when he tried to catch the ball in front of the box. Other than that, they didn't have to play much goal defense, if you will. You could say their defense was excellent because they only had 4 shots, and their 5th of the game will turn into a goal. Waterloo on the board.
And, I got so stressed about this because DPN has no boost. I didn't want him to force it, and, you never know how much a player can check and what the comms are, obviously, with the team, but how much the player can just check by himself in his surroundings. There was a lot of time for him to pick up that boost and very softly play that ball across for Dark Beam. He had plenty of time to do it, didn't panic, the comms came through, and they're able to get their first goal.
Waterloo already in trouble on defense again, though they did pick up the save, and the rest of Kennesaw pulled off, so Gibb got the clear. Gibb on the rebound was immediately blocked out by Cursed. Ooh, a little more aggression here in the attacking third from Waterloo, but Dark Beam can't get the shot on net. He had no boost on that last attempt. Kennesaw State take back over.
Ooh. Big miss on the back wall there. Goes unpunished. Nobody from Kennesaw State pushed up, but those are the types of touches that I think have really been the driver for Kennesaw State's extended pressure, and again, some slow defense from Waterloo as Kennesaw State gets their first.
A nice powerful shot from Carter here. If it's not hit with power, good chance Dark Beam makes that save, or even Gibb, but 120 kilometers per hour, good luck saving that. Gibb had just turned around, and he was the closest guy to that ball, and it was in the net before he had a chance to react. Ooh, Gibb, double touch. Oh, Gibb, it's off the crossbar. Oh, Waterloo feeling a little gutted after that attempt.
Yeah, you're going to want to have that one back. It was a great setup by Gibb as well. They might be punished here, Tyro. Shot turned away by Dark Beam as Kennesaw State moved quickly downfield, but here comes Waterloo.
Taken off the backboard by Cursed. Excellent pickup by Tyro. And now Kennesaw State can flip things back into their favor. Back on the blue half in front of the box. They wait for DPN. How will he take the ball? Cursed can't take it away from him, and DPN weaves his way out of blue territory, now across, but Tyro blocks it out again. Flipping back, Waterloo. Can they maintain control of midfield? Kennesaw State had owned it for almost the entirety of game one, but Waterloo looked to flip things in their favor. For now, they've equalized against Kennesaw.
You're seeing the possession in midfield for Kennesaw State right now. Waterloo not really doing a lot to put pressure on it. And it's given a lot of time and a lot of extra touches for Kennesaw State to set up their chances and kind of build that trap offense where it feels like Waterloo can never break out. Here's Carter again, has options to his left, decides to take the shot. It was weak and turned away by DPN. Tyro testing his chances as Darkbeam gets in the way.
Waterloo a little confused on defense on the positioning of the other team. If you're looking at the second man, it's not really respecting how Kennesaw State are positioned on offense. They're never ready for that follow-up from Kennesaw State. That's the hardest thing as second man, is to get a real beat for how the play is going to advance. You know, you can't just look a step into the future. You have to look multiple steps into the future and pick the highest probable option, and Waterloo are really struggling to find the consistent place in the rotation to actually grab control of this ball, and the result is Kennesaw State just having, you know, freedom on the opponent's backboard to do as they please, Corelli.
Yeah, and you're seeing what happens to a defense when the opposition can get so many touches. You're seeing everyone getting involved in the Kennesaw State offense, and just a missed touch from Tyro. Nobody was up from Waterloo, and again, slow challenges coming out from them. Even with all three players under the ball, it still feels like nobody's reacting to the offense that Kennesaw State's putting on.
Oh, and Waterloo, that was a big chance to actually get the midfield game set up, but again, the second man broke down for them. No follow-up was available, so now they're stuck in front of their own box. Here's another shot. Darkbeam can't find the ball, and Tyro scores one right in front of him.
Yeah, no boost for Darkbeam here. Tough situation, and then he turns his back on the ball. Tough to make a save from that position. Tyro actually put it close enough to Darkbeam where he maybe could have got it if he reacted a little bit sooner. Unfortunately, they give up their second goal, and Kennesaw State in the lead.
And Waterloo, the biggest issue, well, Gibb is actually going to get one off the backboard. Darkbeam can't find the goal, and there's no boost available for DPN, so he has to retreat, which means midfield could have been Kennesaw State's, but Gibb, he's done with having to play defense. There's a pot shot, easily saved, and now it's all about getting that touch over Tyro. Gibb does so, and now the last man back is Carter, diving forward for the save. DPN got the challenge out. Here's Darkbeam. It's a bouncer. Coming out is Gibb, but following it all the way through was Cursed. Now keeping the ball out. That's some time wasted, but they're only up by one. Kennesaw State hanging on.
And those are two shots now for Waterloo that have gone off the crossbar. Gibbs double tap, and then just recently there with the shot, and those are two shots that could be the game changer. Darkbeam's got to make a goal line save. Carter's coming through. DPN bails out Waterloo, but for how long? As Tyro, he gets shut down by Gibb, and Gibb does a great job of getting out for Waterloo.
Oh, that was massive. Yeah, Darkbeam actually just takes the enforcer roll, and Gibb will score, but it's Darkbeam bringing out the wrecking ball.
Wow, and Gibb had stayed on the ball all the way from his own side, and Carter just goes a bit too high. Darkbeam takes care of Tyro in net, opens it up just enough for a boostless Gibb to put it home.
Everyone was boostless. That's why I was saying, oh, Waterloo, they got the clear towards midfield, but they're going to be in trouble. And then Gibb won a 50, and Darkbeam was like, I'm going to their net. I'm going to bump him. And we got a tie game. Is there another overtime? Or is Gibb looking for net? He's looking for DPN, but he can't find the angle, actually. DPN went for the read. Gibb, it's blocked for now on the backboard, but there's another chance. DPN, no, he can't get there, OT.
That was scary for Kennesaw State. That ball popped up, and there was opportunity for Waterloo, and all of a sudden their offense coming alive, and they're putting away their chances. This game should have been over. It should have been Waterloo's win, and it might be Kennesaw State's as that shot goes wide.
Darkbeam is very happy that that shot was not on target. Could get that clear out safely. Waterloo, much better command over midfield, but one slip through your undercarriage could be the difference. Darkbeam with no boosts tries to wiggle his way out, but now Cursed is behind the ball. DPN can't get it away. Darkbeam, he's going to have to take this ball out himself, and he's got two defenders to get through. He blew by one, but Cursed delays the next. Here's Gibb. He's got enough boost to chase it down. Dark Beam with the demo, and it's good. Waterloo tie the series.
Dark Beam is just headhunting right now for Waterloo, and that's great recognition to know that Carter's going to be the last man back and that your team most likely is going to get the touchdown field. Gibb does a great job to follow up, and Waterloo get on the board here in the series, 1-1.
That's really what I wanted to see from Waterloo is, better management of, like, the easy thing to say, Corelli, is like, managing midfield better, but that's such a vague statement that, there's nothing really actionable about that statement, but like sometimes it just comes down to securing the midfield boost and then giving your team an option forward. And it's not good enough as a player to go out towards midfield for a pass. That's not good enough. You have to know what's going on with the opponent's rotation. If you just go out onto the left side, but the entire rotation of the other team is shaded left, why would, a pass is never going to work that way. But if you start looking for the gaps, then those passes, you'll start connecting on them. You'll start forcing difficult 50s for Kennesaw State. That's exactly what happened for Waterloo in the second half of that game too.
And for Waterloo, too, again, I mean, we've mentioned it a couple times now, but that game should have been over well beforehand. Waterloo had a lot of chances that just went off the crossbar, quite literally. And so for Kennesaw State, they really got to be aware that, that game should have been over a lot quicker. They stayed in it a bit longer than they should have. Tyro, he's got to put this one away, and that is how you start if you're Kennesaw State.
Good start, but cursed. That was a great follow on the ball. He was looking at Gibb on the progression the whole way through. And all you need to do is just get under that a little bit, get a solid touch onto the ball, and it hit right in front of his bumper for Kirst, and the rest was just a snowball effect. Excellent start. Now, Waterloo looked much more comfortable, too, on the approach. I thought they were pretty weak on their follow-ups, but, I mean, look at that. That was a beautiful shot by Gibb. Tied up.
And Gibbs had some quite accurate touches. I know he hit the crossbar earlier, but he's had he's done a great job, rather, of putting the ball in dangerous spots for the Kennesaw State defense to deal with. And that this time he's finding the back of the net. So for Waterloo, Gibb is definitely a man that could be your striker, and he certainly has here in this series.
The only returning member of the original Waterloo squad. Gibb has certainly had his CRL moments. That's a nice flick by Gibb. And again, Waterloo on offense here again.
Wow.
And a DPN snuck it. He called it out, corner pocket, slotted it nicely.
Great shot from DPN, and the ball, that's a free ball to play with. Saw the positioning of Curse. It's tough to get to that back post if you don't react quick enough. It's tough to get that angling, and that's exactly what DPN took advantage of there.
A bit of a chaotic first minute for Game 3. The all-important Game 3 in a best-of-5. More times than not, the team that wins this game ends up winning the match. It's so hard just to win two more straight after going down in the set. Nice little carry by Tyro. Kennesaw State need a little bit more of that. They're not going to get these freebies off the back wall nearly as often as they did earlier, but when they do get back on offense, look at Gibb. Nice catch, but the save. It's still going to have to come back off the backboard, and just grabbing it was Carter. Woo. Well, Kennesaw State were looking down the barrel on that last play.
And Kennesaw State, Waterloo, looking more and more dangerous here. They, I think, had to take that first game and a half or so to get into it, but they're looking like a different team now as they have a lot of offensive pressure. Gibb wanted to pass that one down, but a bit too much power.
It does feel like it's all Gibb. You said it earlier that his touches have all been solid. He's hitting the ball with intent. He's forcing Kennesaw State to use a little more boost than they'd like. That one right there is not too awkward for them to handle, but more times than not, Gibb has forced Kennesaw State to stretch, and I think that has been the main difference in the last minute or so.
We're really not seeing that Kennesaw State offense that we saw early on where they were locking in the opposition. Here's Gibb again. It seems like Waterloo have figured out the puzzle that is Kennesaw State's defense, and they are just sending them for a ride at the moment as Kennesaw State just struggling to get touches on the ball, and you're seeing it start to break down a little bit as they are staying alive and staying above water, but for how long? Gibbs got some boost to work with, and Curse turns it away.
There's no reason that Kennesaw State should be trying to survive on defense like that. Everyone during that whole progression was sitting at like 75 plus boost, or at least above 60 plus, but everybody was positioned like they're turtling. It's like nobody is able to get up and actually challenge the point of the point of
Bang.
touch. And Gibb will find the back of the net yet again. Kennesaw State out here flying back and forth, but hitting nothing.
Wow. Look at that pass from Darkbeam. How about that? Backwards diagonally to your teammate in the middle of the field. Hit with enough pace to get away from the Kennesaw State defenders. And boy, Gibb again, being that striker for Waterloo, has just been so strong, especially in this game. And he was earlier on as well in the previous game. And a good little fake here to buy himself some space.
Tyro just planted himself right on the corner of where the sidewall and the ceiling meet, and he's like, look, I'm going to pre-jump if you hit it towards me. And then they didn't go for it. But Tyro's feeling desperate now. He's like, they'll never see it coming. But this has been a great return to form for Waterloo. It's been hard for Kennesaw State, but I feel like their positioning on defense, Corelli, is so relaxed. They have to get a little more aggressive. You know, it could be uncomfortable as the follow-up man to put yourself in a tough spot to follow the ball up, and you just want to play the next hit from the attacker. But like, you're never going to get out on defense against Waterloo if they keep up like this. Because if that's the farthest you can get to the corner and get a lucky bounce,
man.
guess what? Gibb puts the ball in the back of the net. I've read this book before, and the ending is the same every time.
Man, look at these shots from Gibb. These are long-range shots as well that Waterloo are scoring. These aren't just like in the box. These are outside of the box shots the defense has to react to. They're hit with such pace and with pinpoint accuracy. It's tough to get to, and they're put in spots that are tough to defend, and I think Kennesaw State might get one back here. Tyro has an open net to shoot on.
Well, it's funny because that last play, like, you're watching Gibb fly across, and you're not expecting him to get that amount of power on that shot. It's a good return for, Kennesaw State, but with a minute left, I mean, you're not going to get another kickoff goal like that, are you? If they do, then maybe we start talking. Maybe in midfield here you can get something, but Gibb has just been unbeatable right now.
I mean, he scored 3 out of his 5 shots here in this game. It's been looking up and up here for Waterloo, and it's been steadily going down for Kennesaw State. Gibb again. Is that one going to drop for him? It goes off the crossbar and down. DPN to follow up. Puts it top shelf. And a 5-2 scoreline for Waterloo.
Well, even if he didn't hit that one, Gibb has clearly been drilling a bunch of shooting packs because his targeting has been very, very accurate. And he doesn't score that one, but it puts the whole Kennesaw State defense on high alert to get scored on yet again.
And I'm very concerned for the Kennesaw State defense here. Not only do they seem panicked every single time they have to play defense, but there's double commits, there's whiffs, there's miscommunication. There's a lot of space between them and the ball. You're seeing Gibb take advantage of that. You've seen DPN take advantage of that a couple times. It just feels like Waterloo, I don't know if it's so much Waterloo's pressure that they're feeling, or rather that they don't have enough boost to react to the accuracy that Waterloo's kind of hitting the ball with right now.
But see, I do feel like they have had the boost to deal with it. Like sometimes I feel like they have. Maybe Waterloo has starved them out some of the time, but like when I'm switching through their cams and I'm seeing everybody sitting like at 60 plus boost or more, and everybody's playing as if they're third man, like next to the ramp, like someone's got to go for the ball on defense. But so maybe it's just a product of the Waterloo pressure, Corelli, and that was a nice little sequence to end the game. But you're going to have to do a lot more than that if you have hope of forcing Game 5.
Well, you certainly don't want to give up 12 shots, and that's exactly what Kennesaw State did. And you could see what happens to the scoreline when that happens. Gibb almost putting up a 1,000-point game here. Yeah. 3 goals, 2 assists, 3 saves, and 6 shots. That is a stat line you can be proud of. And for Waterloo, they're better. And to be fair, it wasn't just the Gibb show. Sure, he was putting away some great shots. DPN played phenomenally. Darkbeam opened up so much space. That's something that's never reflected in the scoreline. The bumps and demos that he had in this game were phenomenal. Not only that, the pass back to Gibb as well. So everyone contributing from Waterloo, which we didn't see in the beginning of the series. They felt a little bit more hesitant. Now they're a lot more direct, a lot more intent behind the shot and the touches, and they look good going into this game.
Yeah, Darkbeam has certainly been a wonderful utility player in this match, and the X factor, if you will, Corelli. But when I look at Kennesaw State, I think about the midfielding of Carter, or not Carter, excuse me, Kirst. Hang on a second. Dark Beam gets the kickoff goal, and Waterloo, well, they're ready to end this match early.
And boy, this is scary for Kennesaw State. You get back to a 0-0 scoreline, and in the first 3 seconds, you give up a goal. Dark being this time the beneficiary. Waterloo up 1-0.
Perfect loss to DPN on the kickoff, but he doesn't really get the best touch, so Kennesaw State will be on the return. But like I was saying earlier, Corellia, I feel like Kirst has been the best midfielder for Kennesaw State, and the best striker has been Tyro. And when Tyro actually has boost and he's behind the ball in front of the box, he's looked very dangerous. Kennesaw State have to start creating situations where Tyro can succeed and find a little bit of space. I think it starts with Kirst in midfield. He's got to be a more menacing presence in that spot on the pitch. Here's Tyro, can't get a solid, powerful touch, but it does put Waterloo on the stretch. DPN getting the next clear out.
It was a good pass. I believe it's from Kirst to Tyro earlier on there, and I think that's the setup that we're looking for. You want Tyro to be the one behind the ball taking the shots. That's a poor clear from Carter. Kirst got to bail him out. He does. Waterloo still knocking on the door here.
And DPN has been reliable as far as just getting his face behind the ball and hitting it with power, especially in 50-50 situations. Here's Dark Beam, but Kirst will be there for the next save. And DPN won't be able to follow that up cleanly. And in fact, it's a clean counterattack. Here's off the backboard, and DPN, well, he flew out of the net. Very happy that that assignment wasn't exactly necessary. Dark Beam took that midfield boost, avoided a demo on his way back to the box, and it's a miss from Kirst. Carter trying to keep it away, but the rest of Waterloo were waiting. Here in the corner, DPN, does he get back to the ball? No, not before Tyro gets the clear.
And Gibb was lurking in the midfield, waiting for that ball to pop out. It was good from Kennesaw State to avoid that. You've seen the damage that he can cause with free balls between the midfield line and the top of the box on the Kennesaw State side. And here he comes again. Good block by Kennesaw State to stop.
Oh, nice pass as well. Does he have the boost to get that? No, he has to let it drop to Kirst, and he can't put a solid shot on net. Every single time Kennesaw State has gotten a chance to shoot, their last 3 shots have been a player with 0 boost shooting the ball. You know, it's not a recipe for success if you want power and a threat. DPN just missing the double touch, but maybe it was just for Dark Beam. The miss sometimes ends up turning out fortunate for your team.
Yeah, and they'll take it. They got Kirst to go with no touch, and Tyro has caught no man's land. He's too far away to the ball to get the block, but too close to really make a save. And for Kennesaw State, things have gone bad to worse here as Waterloo start to pull away. Do they get a third? Tyro has to make the save, and he does.
It's just the same Kennesaw State team we saw last game, unable to break out of their own half, having to work, mechanical magic just to get the ball around one Waterloo player. And Gibb is already moving downfield. He never left midfield when it went back to his own wall. He's like, yeah, we got the easy clear. No one's available to do anything for Kennesaw State. I mean, these are just survival touches, Corelli. Carter, he might have a chance, but he gets harassed by Gibb. He's still got the pass out off the ceiling. Could Kennesaw State pick up a goal? Well, it's going to be tough. And again, Waterloo defense proves a little too difficult. Here's another chance. Carter still on the ball, puts it over DPN, and Kirst was not ready for that challenge. He got one bump. Tyro trying to survive now for the rest of the retreat on Kennesaw State.
Waterloo very quick to break out there. Kennesaw State kept honest on their rotations, even though things got a little broken with Kirst not really positioned perfectly for that challenge earlier on. But time really becoming a factor here. 1.5 minutes left on the clock. The series on the line. You're down by 2. You've got to generate some offense. And to be fair, Kennesaw State have generated 7 shots. They just haven't put it away. And this might be another one here. It's going to be Dark Beam, a hat trick for him. And Waterloo in the driver's seat.
I mean, this is just a factor of Kirst. Before that shot came and before he was in that position, he was rolling around picking up boost pads. That's what Kennesaw State have been doing for the last minute because they never have enough boost to do anything. And Kirst thought he had an extra second to flip around, grab the next boost pad, and then turn back around, but you don't. You have no time against Waterloo right now. And I mean, that was it before. Like, that was crunch time before that last goal got scored, Corelli, Kennesaw had been completely boxed in. It's been an excellent job by Waterloo to completely close down Kennesaw State's approach. Just, completely shut the pitch down for maintenance. Good luck picking up the boost pads. None are ever available for you. And DPN almost snuck that in.
40 seconds left now for Kennesaw State. Things looking very bleak for them. They just need one with time left to get them into a kickoff. Curse, this could be it. They really need it. Carter tried to play it into the box, but a bit clear from Gibbs. Going to shut things down.
Just never the touch they need at the time they need it. And expecting a teammate to be there, or maybe just not getting as powerful as a touch as you might have wanted. I mean, this is nice. We saw a couple of good passes develop for Kennesaw State. Like, the philosophy is obviously there. They obviously want to pass the ball. And when they go from first to second man in midfield, it's good. And they can do it with power and intent. But then when it actually comes to continuing that progression on offense, it was really hard for them to contend with Waterloo in the 50-50 game. If they lost 150, they couldn't adjust to it, and everybody would retreat the whole way back to their own back wall. And you just can't give Waterloo that kind of credence on defense that often, because you'll never win the boost game like that. Kennesaw State have the philosophy, they have the mechanics to beat Waterloo, but I just felt like they completely lost their confidence, and they didn't have any confidence in their positioning and how they were using boost or on their touches on the ball. And that was an effect of what you saw on the field. Because game 1 Kennesaw State didn't look anything like game 4 Kennesaw State. Those were completely two different teams.
Yeah, and while this Waterloo team is certainly a far cry from what they used to be with the MD22s, the Go Rocks Goes, even the Insomnics that we saw in seasons past, the DPNs and the Dark Beams look pretty darn good as well, and I think for them, Waterloo, they could be happy with this 4-game series. They took down a team I think they expected to beat, and they did it in pretty commanding fashion in the back half of this.
Well, we got 2 more matches for CRL coming up with the rest of the day. Coming next is Mizzou versus Missouri S&T. Corelli and I will be bringing you that one after the break. Oh.